Welcome to the Psychic Soul Healing Oracle channel. My name is Laura Schwalm, and today I wanted to do a healing spread for healing your inner child. This is a general reading, so if it doesn't fit, please don't force it. It may resonate with you, it may not. This is a timeless reading also, which means when you actually see it is when you're supposed to, though it is intended for you to see it for the upcoming month. Welcome to the Psychic Soul Healing Oracle channel. All I do here is spreads and messages for healing the effects of psychological trauma. So we can predict the future. We can talk about souls mates, and we do, but we talk about your connection through the traumas, through why this person has actually come into your life. So it gives you more of an in-depth reading, because many times with our soul's mates, it doesn't run smoothly. These relationships are hard, and they're hard because we're mainly down here in physical form to learn and to manifest, and we're supposed to be learning we're not separate from God, which is love, through seeing our life through all different perspectives. But this makes it really difficult when we're in a relationship and it's not an easy relationship, like a soul mate or a twin flame relationship, or if we're someone that keeps reliving the same types of experiences that hurt us or cause us pain or make us feel small or defective, not good enough, any lower emotion that we feel, whether it's because we're in a relationship that's not working out, or because the job that we're in is not working out. Maybe we have problems within our relationships. We know when we have problems in our life. We know when things aren't working in our life. We tend to not know why. We tend to say, well, it's because of this person. But understand, all our situations are a reflection of us. So even the situations that are painful or difficult to digest or understand, they're meant to grow our consciousness. So again, this channel is all about healing, but we do readings for whether your person's going to come back. It's just the way that it's done. So please make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, comment down below if you resonate with this reading. You know, if you want to know how to book a personal reading, or follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or any other social media platform, you can find all that information down in the description box below. Also, where to pick up the Psychic Soul Healing Oracle spread or a system, actually, because it comes with a system, not just the spread. Actually, it's an or the deck, but how you can pick up any of my merchandise, books, oracle systems, affirmation cards. It is all down in that description box. So again, today I'd love to do, and that what we're going to do is an inner child spread. So for those of you that don't know, your inner child refers to healing the child aspect of yourself. It is a way to address your needs that haven't been met as a child and heal the attachment wounds we all develop. We all have a younger part of ourselves that was never quite loved the right way, or the way that we needed as a child. Inner child work, like any type of inner child work, involves creating a space where our subconscious mind is allowed to take the lead. So this happens from being able to go inside ourselves to explore our true feelings and parts of us that may have been rejected and labeled as inappropriate or too much by others. Now, by allowing ourselves time to go within, we begin peeling back our everyday coping mechanisms, being avoidant, numbing of feelings, addictions, all that. And we're able to fully accept and integrate our subconscious into consciousness. And when we're able to do this, we're able to create the life experiences that we want to have. Otherwise, the traumatic experiences really will keep creating strong emotions and physical reactions that really persist long after the event, such as when a child feels terror, you might continually be triggered to feeling terror within your situations, or feeling helpless or fearful, as well as psychological reactions such as, you know, your heart pounding, or having like a lot of anxiety, or feeling paralyzed. Again, all these are manifestations of trauma. So when I'm doing a reading, again, to find out about you and your person, or I'm doing a reading about a job that might not, we want to know whether it's going to work out or not because you're fearful. We're not just going to answer the question, we're going to go really deep to get you the healing that's needed. And healing just means seeing a different perception of your situation. So before I get started, I be doing the reading, I always like to clear the cards with a tuning fork. And then I also wanted to share that I will be pulling some of my homemade messaging cards to go with the Psychic Soul Healing deck, to go a little bit differently. But first, as I said, I'm going to clear the cards. So whatever listening device you're listening to this video on, you might want to turn it down, because this is an angelic tuner and its pitch is very high, because we're going to connect to the angelic realms, the spiritual realms, which are at a much higher vibrational frequency. So again, this is a very piercing sound tuning fork. So again, you might want to just turn your listening device down just for a moment. Now the cards have been pretty much heavily shuffled, but I always like to anyway get my energy through the entire deck of cards. And I'd like to just read the questions of the spread that we're going to do. So the first question is how my inner child feels currently. The second question is what I lacked as a child. And the reason why this is important is because a lot of times we continue to seek what we lack over and over again until we get it on some form. And sometimes that's what brings us down. Third question is something that's left my inner child scared, like something again that left my inner child scared, then how it is affecting my life right now. And then the next question is something I can do to heal my inner child. How can I support my inner child? And a message from my inner child. Again, and then we can ask individual questions to go deeper, or I can actually pull cards, all depending on how you would want to use this system, because you can use this system for either meditation and reflection practices, to do personal or professional psychic readings. You could do them for spiritual healing. You can use these cards in a lot of different ways, and you can use them in conjunction with other systems as well, depending on how deep or what you want to look at within your reading. But being that this is strictly a healing reading, today I'm just going to use my Psychic Soul cards along with some personal message cards. Okay, so again, that first question, how my inner child feels currently. We'll take from the bottom of the deck. Tactlessness. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you feel tacky, but obviously tactlessness is a lower energy, a heavy energy. So when we have a root chakra imbalance, a lot of times it's because we might not have had the money or the experiences in life to shape our consciousness in a way that we see ourselves differently. Meaning we've gone through experiences that have left us traumatized. So tactlessness, again, is a lower vibrational energy, but what's mostly important about tactlessness is that people that do tacky things, what do? They have bad character. And they have bad character because they have a lot of fear. So this card actually tells us a lot how my inner child feels currently. And it's like, I still feel heavy. I still feel as if there's something wrong. It's the tactlessness could also be, I feel detached from myself. Again, if we feel bad about ourselves, it's not easy to stay in our physical body. So what I lacked as a child, we want to know next. What I lacked as a child and how this affected me. Really, it's like we can tell a lot about what it is, and it's like what you lacked, intuition. And really, we get our intuition from being like childlike, from being in our imagination, right? It also tells us a lot, like if I had a root chakra imbalance, it might mean I didn't have the support. And being that I didn't have this support, I was in survival mode. And being in survival mode as a child, when we're supposed to be creating and finding ourselves, we're again actually conditioning ourselves at a young age to live in fear, to believe that we can't create, to believe that we can't have. And if that's happening, then we can understand why some of our behaviorisms would be tacky, right? I mean, let's face it. When you're dating someone that ghosts you, this is this behavior. When you're meaning the person that's ghosting you, that's that behavior. Or the person that makes a lot of promises and then doesn't show up. And all that is bad character. After a while, if someone keeps promising you that things are going to work and then they don't put any effort in, then we're not going to be in the mind to access our intuition. We're going to be actually in our mind to worry, to survive. So we don't really see it how a lot of times we could say, I grew up in a good home, and it doesn't mean that you didn't. You might have grew up with one parent. You might have grown up with parents that always worked and were never around. It doesn't really matter what the story is. We tend to get stuck in the story. This is not about that. This is more or less, again, our childhood wounds come from just living life a lot of times. And when you're a child, your perception is small. You're much sensitive. Your world is small. That's why your perception of things is small. So children get traumatized easily. So it's again, not all the time does this mean I was abused or I didn't have parents that gave me emotional support. Not all the time. Yes, a lot of times, but not all the time. Again, person that loses their job is not running in survival for their life. They lost their job, but their body is still reacting the same way. And that's the whole point to know about our wounds, that what we go through in our life creates these subconscious blocks that create behaviorisms that block us. So behaviorism would be like, I'm not going to be in this creative, intuitive mind. I need to be on guard. I need to be careful and protective of myself 24/7 because I grew up that way. But then what happens is we see what we look for. So that's also how we wind up creating more of the same of the energy that we didn't want. That's what's important to know. So, okay, something that left my inner child scared. I want to ask Spirit, what is it again that left my inner child scared? You all have phobias. Whoop. So, I mean, this one flipped over. So again, elitist. So it could be my parents. People that, again, felt like they were more superior than I was when we're children. An elitist person is someone that has more than you, and that's everybody. But it could be your parents, it could be the environment, it could be the school system. Again, but it says saying like something made you scared, so you couldn't be like a child because again of people that were in your environment. So the next question is, how is it affecting my life now? What's so great about the Psychic Soul Healing Oracle system is no matter how you read the cards, no matter what, how they fall out, if you rearrange the order, the message is still the same. And that's what I find so amazing with these cards. It's again where, and sometimes when you move them around, you can actually get a little deeper, more information, see something different. It's again, when we're using this system, we are not just reading the cards, we're actually working our mind, and your intuition is your psychic ability, and your psychic ability comes from your mind, and your mind is a muscle. The more that you use your mind, the stronger it gets. So it's again, so that's what's again great about using this system. So the next question, as I said, was how is it affecting my life right now? Right? Yes, just wanted to make sure that we were on the fourth question. Well, self-denying. It means that I don't get up and take for myself. I wait for someone else to give, and sometimes they don't, or I let everybody else go, or I'm so concerned about everyone else's happiness in hopes that they're gonna treat me the same way. Self-denying. There's no greater way to sabotage yourself than to deny yourself, because when you don't even take a chance, you don't try. So a lot of times it's not about getting what you want. It's about trying, because sometimes what we want isn't exactly what we think we want. But understand, in the act of trying, you open up your heart and the universe brings you something in return. And that allows us to see ourselves differently. If we stay stuck and we let everybody else take our turn, and we're giving all our energy to the person that we love, that we want them to give us the emotional support back, and we did not get that growing up because there wasn't anyone there, then we're only going to create the same, more of this self-denying, that action that we tend to do to please other people, to again to be liked. Sometimes it's again whatever your survival mechanism was in childhood. So if your survival mechanism was to deny yourself because you don't want to seem to be a problem, then you're going to repeat this type of behavior within your relationship. You might be someone that goes into the relationship really laid back, not setting boundaries, saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to always take care of your feelings and your needs and deny myself in hope that you think that I'm this great person. And in fact, you teach that person to deny you through the action of self-denying. So that's really important. A lot of codependent relationships start off that way, where one person's giving a lot of energy, the other person's not. And then few months down the line, the person that was giving all of a sudden turns around and says, okay, where's mine? And then the person that they're with thinks that they're crazy because they did not set the appropriate boundaries. Again, we train a person through how much we give them, how much time, energy, focus, and money you give a person. So if you're self-denying, you're teaching people to not honor you, to not respect you. And it's not because you don't like yourself. It's because you're, again, being so conscious of how someone else might react due to, again, how you grew up. Okay, so something that you can do to heal your inner child. Something you can do to heal your inner child. Magical realism. Magical realism is all about, it's all about the fantasy that we find in life, like the fairy tale element of life, the synchronicities, the spiritual elements of life that don't just happen in your imagination, they actually happen, such as deja vu, such as synchronicities, such as ESP, connection through the heart and mind. Oh, I was just thinking of you and now I'm running into you. It's again, so magical realism is knowing that regardless of whatever happened in your life, that you have the power to manifest the life that you want. You just have to imagine it. And you can do that if you get into this element. Again, magical realism is all about the fantasy of life, using your imagination. It's again a real element in life when we're not in work and we're not in the logical linear parts of our mind, which is most of the day. Because most of the day we have to go to work and we have to take care of other things because we have to survive. But there's also this other part of life, which is magical realism. And in the Bible, they say, be like childlike. Why? Because children are in their imagination. They realize, again, that anything is possible. They don't have any blocks or expectations. They just are playing, again, in their imagination. So that's what we would need to get back to, because again, you can't utilize your intuition unless you're have this element. It's technically impossible. Okay, so that's what we would do. So and in that, you'd say, well, what would I do? Then find yourself. Find yourself. When we are in our passions and we are doing what we love, we are in this element. Again, we're not in the logical linear part of our mind. We're definitely not in the self-denying part of our mind. We can actually feel the energy is so much different. Okay, and now a message from your inner child. Let's see what your inner child wants you to know. What does your inner child want you to know? What does your inner child want you to know? Oop. What does your inner child want you to know? Perseverance jumped out. So perseverance, that means to keep on going. Don't stop. Again, persevere means, again, trying different things, finding yourself. It means you're not here by mistake, you're here by God's design. So when life isn't working out, or when something happens that gives us a limited perception about ourselves, we need to remind ourselves that life, we're only in physical form to learn and to manifest. And we're down here for a very short period of time. So we have to be able to persevere in all areas of life. But when you do, again, the universe always falls in love with a stubborn heart. It's again, when you persevere, it doesn't mean that life is easy. It means that you're forced to try different things. It means that you're forced to connect to different people. That expands consciousness. Seeing a different perception of our situation lets us see different situation of ourselves, or a different perception, I should say, of ourselves. And healing is all about being able to see ourselves differently. Now, I wanted to also tap into a few message cards. Just ask some private messages, see what they had to say. Again, with some of the cards that we pulled, again, tactlessness, intuition, elitist, self-denying, magical realism. Let's see. We don't need some of these. So let's ask how your inner child feels currently. Sorry about that. I had a little glitch there. Okay, so I said that I wanted to pull a few of my personal message cards for inner healing. So we don't really want to know what happened, or again, any of the questions that we just answered. We want to get a little bit deeper. So I'm going to ask what your guides want you to know. Again, what your guides want you to know about healing your inner child. You feel that you don't know what to do to fix it. And really, it's not really 100% your job to know how to fix it. Understand healing is an unfoldment process. A lot of times we don't see all the elements that need to be healed. Again, we have a lot of different emotions when it comes to our own healing, meaning when we go through a trauma and we have a memory of that trauma, we might have numerous amounts of emotions and feelings and thoughts towards that particular situation, which would make us feel that we don't know what to do to fix it. So I understand that spirit says that that's not 100% your job. It's again, only God can change your mind and your heart, and that's through who and what comes into your life. The only thing that you could do to help yourself is to find yourself. A lot of times, again, as I said, if we're seeing this limited perception of ourselves due to what we've gone through within our life, then the reason why, well, everything's flying out, then what winds up happening is we wind up staying stuck in the trauma and reliving that trauma over and over and over again. And so the next one is I am drowning in my own thoughts. So it's again, when we go through a dark night of the soul, which is what I was getting at from the tactlessness. Again, tactlessness is a bad character trait. It's a root chakra imbalance, and eventually karma. Again, karma is what we reap, is what is sown is what is reaped, right? So you plant corn, you're getting corn. So if we've gone through experiences that we really did contribute to the undesirable life experience, it is not uncommon to feel, again, overloaded in our thoughts. And this would also be a manifestation of, I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix it. So what happens is when we try to fix it by figuring out how to act or who to be, that's like trying to fix ourselves from the outside. You have to heal yourself from the inside. And that's through understanding what core beliefs you have about yourself, what core beliefs you have about the situation. And it's about integrating the spiritual lesson, which always means doing something, whether that's a reframing exercise, which comes in Psychic Soul Healing workbook, by the way. There's hundreds of exercises in the Psychic Soul Healing workbook because, again, the deck is all about healing the effects of psychological trauma. So again, we can't just say, okay, some people really have a hard time shutting their mind off. They get stuck in the mind chatter, especially if they have gotten awakened in this trigger. Again, an awakening in a trigger is just you were asleep to it. Now all of a sudden you're stuck in a limited perception, which is making you angry, making you again fearful. So it's again, our thoughts keep playing over and over and over and over and over in our mind. So what it's saying is that your own healing, you're worried because again, if the intuition isn't working as well as it should be, then we're logically trying to figure it out. And then we are going to completely get stuck in our thoughts. We are going to completely be stuck in not being able to see anything different, because seeing a different perception means we just have to do something different, which means we have to get out of our mind in order to see that different perception. And we want to know what, like a message from your inner child. Lean on your inner circle during this time. So whenever we need healing, whatever type of healing it is, whether you lost someone or whether or not you're doing shadow work. Shadow work, yes, you do by yourself from meditating and reflecting and journaling and doing reframing exercises and doing body scans and mindful meditations. And there's dozens and hundreds more of exercises. But without the support of friends and without support of other people that have gone through possibly the same situation that you have, you will still kind of be stuck in that limited perception. We have to find balance within healing. It's not just about healing the child's self and then saying, okay, I healed it because I read so many books and I've done a lot of exercises and I've done a lot of classes or taken a lot of courses. It's not about that. Many people think that they heal their mind, and they do in one way, meaning they have a new awareness, but without actually grounding that new experience where you see yourself differently, then you're not going to be able to break the karma. Because again, healing means seeing a different perception of your situation. And when we have friends and an inner circle to help us do that, that's what gives us support. When we have a root chakra imbalance, it's mainly because we feel very alone. When we have a lot of mind chatter and I can't shut my mind off, it's because we have nothing to distract ourselves. So it's again, so leaning on your friends and leaning on support groups to help you is the only way to really heal. What motivates us, we get ideas from the people that we interact with. And again, spirit, the universe brings us the things that we need to heal ourselves many times. I want to thank everybody for jumping on my channel, and I hope you enjoyed and got something out of this spread. If you resonated with it, please again give me a like, a thumbs up, something. And again, if you're looking to book a personal psychic reading, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on pureenergyhealer.com. Okay, till next time, be true to yourself, love yourself. Goodbye.